Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in. Dr. Judy here, Dr. Judy WTF. And tonight's topic is love versus in love. And I want to hear from you. It's so much more interesting to have live discussion rather than monologue. So I invite you to call in. This is a call-in show, everybody. 323-524-2599, 323-524-2599. So we're going to talk about the difference between in love and love. So one is very dopamine filled. So which one do you think that is? The love or the in love? The stable love or the unstable in love? Because as we have all experienced, or most of us humans have, we have all been in love only to find that there is no love behind it. There is no safety behind it. There's no commitment behind it. And it is a temporary feeling, fades out in a short while, maybe if you're lucky, 1, 2 years, and then we hit a bottom of, well, what are we going to do? The butterflies are gone. So now what? So I want to bring up a professor that I had as a supervisor many years ago. His name was Dr. Walter Brockelmans. He was a psychiatrist and he worked at UCLA, and he had an intensive couples program, and he would therapize literally tens of thousands of couples, and he would tape the sessions and uh, delve deep into their psyche and see what the problem was. And I do the same thing, although I have a different method. As some of you know, I have my mind map method. But I used to tease him. I used to say to him, "Hey, Walt, are you in love with your wife yet?" And he goes, "Are you kidding me? In love with my wife? Are you serious? Do you think I want the ups and downs of those emotions? Do you think I want to be in a roller coaster situation? Do you want my life to be just a series of highs and lows and devastations and dopamine?" And I thought about that, and I thought that's an interesting answer to my question. He said, "But look, I love my wife. I love my wife. She is an amazing person. We're amazing partners, and we have a great family, and we have a lot of stability." And that stuck with me for a very long time, obviously, till today, because I'm bringing it up. So, what is this difference? Have you ever experienced being in love only to find out that pretty soon you or your partner fell out of love? So, what's this business of falling in and falling out? Doesn't that tell you something about the stability of being, the instability of being in love? So other people might say, but hey, isn't it necessary for that spark to happen? Don't you have to have a connection, and a romantic one at that, and have that splurge of dopamine or whatever the drug is that fills your body and makes the sparks happen? Isn't that necessary? And I would say, yeah, that's pretty nice when that happens, and that is a prerequisite for motivating somebody to go deeper. However, before you build a life on in love, you have to see if there is going to be a foundation for love. So, what is the difference? Let's talk about it from a mind map perspective, and let's talk about it from attachment theory. So, let's bring up panel number one: wounds of childhood. So, as you've often heard me speak about this, wounds of childhood are all the things that injure us: verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, smothering, narcissistic parents, controlling parents. Okay, so these are all the aspects of our injury. So when we are injured, we develop what I refer to as a hole in the soul. And if you guys want to read more about this, then I give away my PDF book, Be the Cause Healing Human Disconnect, or you could buy it online at Amazon and have the actual copy of the book. But I do encourage you to read it, especially if you're trying to understand my mind map, because all of the dots, as you can see from the DNA strand, do connect, and I do show you a system gone wrong to a system gone right. So, okay, so we're injured. Yeah, everybody's injured on one level or another, some deeper than others. But this hole in the soul, this deficit, um, lingers on and creates reactions. And these reactions might entail pain. Either we bleed out, we shut down if we're bleeding too much, we might flee, fight, freeze, fawn. These are reactions to the wound. If an animal is wounded, he will or she will fight, flight, flee, freeze, or fawn. And we do the same thing. And I'm talking about not only physically, but emotionally. So now we meet a partner. So let's look at panel number 3 and look at that DNA strand and take a look at what's going on there. So now we are partnered up. And so what is that? What is that DNA strand that's doing a dance? Well, what are we doing glued together in the first place? Well, it could come from the idea that we are not whole and complete, and now we need somebody to complete us. Okay, so let's say that you're the blue strand, and along comes your pink strand, and then you feel the sparks. Why do you feel the sparks? Well, wow, that person holds out a lot of hope. Maybe that person esteemed you, or maybe that person paid attention to you for the first time ever. Maybe that person makes you feel high as a kite because you're having amazing sex. So that feeling of being in love belongs there. Okay, does that kind of make sense to everybody? That when you bond with somebody that is going to complete you, the dopamine shoots up, the good feelings shoot up, and you want those feelings. However, if that match made in so called heaven is based on only fulfilling a wound of childhood, well, good luck with that, because now you're into an unsustainable system. So now you're building on the hope and wish and dream that this person, who probably is also coming into the relationship with a hole in their soul and a sense of incompletion, is bonding to you because you serve a purpose. You serve a very important psychological purpose. And let's go back to Dr. John Bowlby, attachment theorist, father of attachment theory, who talks about what it takes to form a healthy human psyche. So, what are these elements? They're mirroring, attunement, eye contact, skin contact, consistency, a sense of connection. Okay? So when mom and baby are connected and everything's going well, the mother is mirroring the baby, attuning to the baby, attaching to the baby is attaching to mother. But what if all that doesn't go so well? So then the baby is left with, again, I refer back to the hole in the soul, and is forever pining for that love, is pining for a complete connection. And so as the baby develops and turns into an adult, then that baby is craving the intimacy, as an example, craving being important enough, craving being special, craving being number one, craving being lovable. And if the love object is providing some of that or a lot of that, well, bingo. However, now we have what I call a dependent relationship, because if you don't go into a relationship somewhat whole and complete, and this is a lifelong journey, it's never the case that we don't need anybody. That's a rare person who absolutely doesn't need anybody. But if you're going to go into this relationship with a big hole in the soul and you're hoping that your provider will fill it for you, then in essence, you're not the cause, you're at the effect of the relationship. Do we have any questions so far in the chat room?
Yeah, we do.
We do, we do.
We'll go ahead and start with one, which I thought was really interesting. I feel guilty because my partner says they're still in love with me, but I don't feel the same. Is there something wrong with me?
Well, let's go to the love part, okay? So the in love part is juicy. It's dopamine filled, as I mentioned. It captures those really high moments, limerence, the word limerence, like, wow, I'm falling in limerence with this person. So that person might feel those highs and lows, especially if they're, okay, so here's the thing. If they're anxiously attached, if they didn't have consistent mothering and a very healthy attachment with their parent, mother, probably more so than father in most cases, or primary parent more so than secondary parent, then you're serving that purpose. Okay. Now, if you've had healthy attachment and you're not feeling the love, well, maybe you're not feeling the love because they're leaning on you too hard, and perhaps you come from, let's just pretend that you come from smothering parents. So the anxious person who is now finally getting their dopamine needs met is sort of like high on the drug, okay? And you, on the other hand, don't want to be the drug supplier. And so, as an avoidant detacher, maybe you push back and think, no, 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 no. This is overwhelming. This is a trap. This is going to smother me. This is going to lock me in some kind of a psychological prison. So you don't allow yourself to feel that because of the dynamics between the two. Or maybe it is that you genuinely have moved into a stage of the relationship called the loving stage, which is not as dopamine filled. It's not as dramatic or traumatic. So, this is a phase of stability. It's a phase where uh, partners decide that they're not going to abandon each other, that they're going to work through things. Maybe they're building a home together, maybe they're having children together. So obviously, if you're building a foundation, all you need is, like what Dr. Brockelman said, is to experience highs and lows, and oh my God, now I'm afraid that he or she is going to leave me. Oh no, I'm not sure if I'm in love. I'm not sure if the other party's in love. And so what I'm saying is that in love is usually temporary. Hopefully, you still have some sparks from the situation, and we'll get into that. But the love is the foundation, okay? Um, you love people. Why do you love people? You love people because you have similar values, or you want to um, have a good partnership, or you want to back to building something, you want to build something. You're in love because you're smitten. Okay, it doesn't mean you want to build with that person. You could be in love with somebody that's really hot and sexy and a hot mess. You've heard of hot messes, right? So, sorry, I have to sneeze, not coming out, of course. Okay, I think it went away. Kind of like love, in love. It's like you have to scratch an itch, you got to sneeze, but then again, it subsides. And hopefully, mature love takes precedence in a stable relationship because you can't be threatened with anxious attachment or push away because you are an avoidant attacher or change your mind because your partner has bad breath in the morning or change your mind back because now they got some plastic surgery and they look great and so your hormones are surging. Do you see how unstable this limerence thing is this in love thing? It's really hard to build on it, but it sure is important to get the party started. So does that answer your question? You want to put a comment in the chat room, or better yet, why don't you call into the show and we could talk about your specific case?
Yeah, I hope they leave a message and I hope they call in. But I am curious that somebody that's been married myself for 8 years now. Um, I feel the love growing, but also I do not feel that spark that I when I first met my spouse. But I couldn't imagine my life without him.
Okay, that's because you're mature, Tony.
Yeah.
Not
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.
And that's because you're to be trusted, okay?
Right.
You have built a foundation together, and this foundation is really, really important and needs the stability. So the love is the deepening,
Mm-hmm.
the sparks of in love. Well, didn't you have a little bit of that in love feeling when you first met your husband?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course. Okay, so that's what I mean. You've got to get the party started somehow.
Right, right. If not, you probably would have never happened in the first place.
No, I mean, like, why, right? Uh, why, like you buy something off of a shelf and it's that shiny object, and I
Right.
want it, I want it, I want it. But then when you get it, maybe you throw it away because it's not shiny anymore, or maybe you keep it because it just enriches your life so much that you can't live without it. So
It's kind of
in
like
your,
that holy shirt, that shirt you've had for 15 years and it's holy and you just don't want to get rid of it because it's so comfortable and you
yeah. Yes, there's something wonderful about that. Maybe
Mhm.
that's why I don't like to move from this particular home that I live in because, it's so much something that I've invested in, and these are the key ingredients. You invest in your partner, you create with your partner, you make a home with your partner, you share experiences with your partner, you
Mhm.
give feedback to your partner, whether
Yeah.
it's complimentary or not. Sometimes you have to tell your partner truths that don't really feel that great, and then sometimes it's just very important to know that you have somebody that's going to be your truth teller, right? So in
Yeah.
spite of the fact that you might not want to hear certain things, you could depend on your partner to tell you what you need to improve upon, like a feedback loop. And so all of those shared experiences create love.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay?
agree. And I think, I mean, just from the people that tune in, you can tell this is a popular subject that all of us go through.
Yes.
And I find this question fascinating because, I mean, I'm sure it's happened to many people. Is it
Yes.
possible to fall in love with two people at once, or is it just a confusion or an unmet needs?
Well, that's interesting. I have no real body of research that I'm referring to, but I'll just use my instincts on that one. I think it's possible to be in a relationship where you love somebody and then there's a missing piece. Remember that book called The Missing Piece Meets the Big O? So,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, if let's say your sexual desires are not the same, or your creative desires are not the same, or something's not happening within the relationship, you might want to pull an in love partner in because you want to experience that high. Um, I was listening to a psychologist online. I wish I could remember her name and give her credit. But she was talking about that when people cheat, they want they cheat because they want to experience different aspects of themselves. So it's not so much that they necessarily want to get rid of their partner, but they want to feel alive. And so sometimes being loved is, of course, you feel alive, but you don't feel. Everybody likes to have that drug effect, right? Or a lot of people do. Like, wow, I just met somebody. If you look at somebody's face who says, oh, I just met this person. Oh my God. I think I think the person's the one. Oh
Right.
my God, like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Maybe the person is a horrible individual. Maybe the person has no ethics or morals. Maybe the person has completely different life views than you. How do you know? So, building upon in love to me is a really, really bad idea unless the foundation is going to turn into love. And love also means acceptance, acceptance of the person's values and matching those values. So you don't want to fall in love with somebody that eventually you're going to have to say goodbye to because they don't match your values. So what are you going to do? Or you can agree to disagree, or you can have friction over it, or yeah, so it's not foundationally really good. So let's go back to that panel three for a second and you could show the image. So there's your in love. Two missing pieces find each other. They get intertwined, and for a minute, their toxic levels go down for a minute, and then they are sparked because when one partner starts expressing their individuality or pulls back or tries to choke the other, look what happens. Okay, so now we're in panel number four. So if it's not foundationally built correctly, we've got chaos. Okay, so this bond is going to bust. It's not sustainable. So the person who has anxious attachment is going to be the cling on, and then the person who has avoidant attachment is going to push the person off of the ladder, and now we are in chaos. So it's not going to sustain. So now, after chaos, what happens? What happens is people get defensive. So, as a result of chaos, now we're on panel five, people might decide, well, you know, I'm going to close down. I'm never going to allow anybody in, screw this love business, forget it. I'm just going to close down. And other people might think, well, then instead of love, I'm just going to look for many, many sparky situations and I'll just be drifting from one relationship to the other and just spark in love, in love, in love, in love. I'm in love with her. I'm in love with him. Now I'm not. Now I am. Now it's different. Oh, now I like the pink one. Now I like the blue one. Oh, the yellow one is, oh, wow. The yellow one's really hot. Okay. So now we're going crazy because we're missing that dopamine. Okay. And so we can either decide to completely shut down, or we could decide to objectify people and just choose a bunch of people who will fill our hole in the soul, and more people and more breakups until eventually the whole system breaks down, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I know nobody wants to break down, but sometimes that happens. The marriage breaks down, the relationship breaks down, person's mental health breaks down. So what is a breakdown from this point of view is that you have to build it. You have to build it sustainably. You can't just build it based on a feeling. So now you're in the breakdown, and what's breakdown an opportunity for is a breakthrough. So, were there other questions in the chat room, or anybody want to call in and dive into this in love versus love?
I know we have quite a few people that are tuning in, so please, if don't feel embarrassed. You can always use a different name.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. You can go by an alias, you can
yeah,
change your voice, whatever you want to do.
but there's a question, and I think again all of us have thought this: can
Mhm.
being in love come back after it fades, or once it's gone for good?
No, I think you can rekindle the sparks, okay? So, how do you rekindle the sparks? Is that you do fun, exciting things with each other. So, what evokes these powerful emotions? Well, music does. What else does? Obviously, having sex does, making love. Um, Going on some thrilling adventures. Humor, I think humor is a really important part of it. Laughing your ass off with your partner, that can rekindle sparks. And so you're always going to be responsible for rekindling. You don't want this flatliner of love either. I'm not suggesting just, park yourself in neutral and be stable. And, because a relationship is dynamic. And so part of, I think, staying in love is always being on a journey of paradigm shifting and always growing. Because whenever you destabilize the relationship by challenging it, the other person has to somehow metabolize it and grow and reach a higher level with you, okay? Because you're partners. And if they can't do that, then they're going to drop out of the relationship. Then it's not sustainable. So I think that these sparks are really important. You know how I love Dr. Jordan Peterson. He talks about date night. You've got to date each other. You have to make time for sex. I have couples that I work with that haven't had sex for months and even years. They just don't want to have sex, or the spark is gone, or I don't know what it is. They've become platonic with each other, which is really painful because especially if one wants to have an intimate relationship and the other is just fine without it, then questions are going to arise like, oh, is this person having an affair? Is this person addicted to porn? Oh, and then for those of you who have core beliefs like I'm not beautiful enough or I'm not desirable enough, it's going to spark horrible negative core beliefs. It's going to activate them. And so that partner is going to be your torture chamber. So I do like the idea of dating each other, date night, discussions, shared experiences, going to plays, movies, comedy stores, going on adventures together, uh, being out in nature, having a book perhaps that you read together and or ideas that you're building together and projects because I think every time you guys elevate each other, there's a little spark. Okay? There's
Hmm.
an added spark to it. You could call it like, oh my God, I just remembered why I fell in love with this person. Wow, this person is so creative. I just remembered. I just remembered their laugh. Wow, I haven't heard that laugh for a long time. Now I remember why I fell in love with that person. And so there's always going to be this memory bank of love. Oh, we have a call. Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, Doc?
What's up?
Man, you saved my life back in like 20, like 16, 17. I came
I
across
did.
your videos and yeah, man, I was getting into it with my parents real bad. And
Wow.
man, I watched those videos and boy, it really changed my life.
Well, I can't tell you how meaningful that is for me to hear it because to me, there's nothing better than making a difference in somebody else's life, you know? I mean, I love Haagen-Dazs ice cream, which I can't eat anymore because of my sugar levels will not like it. But there's nothing better than making a difference to somebody's life. Can I please ask you, what was it about what I said or what you learned that turned you around? Where were
Man,
you? What did you hear from me? And what stuck to shift that paradigm in your mind?
you know, at the time I had like kind of like ran away from my family. I mean, I was 25, so I don't know how if you could call it running like that, but I wasn't talking to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I just got on YouTube, and then it'd be like bullshit on there. But then like I came across your stuff,
And I
and it was
wasn't
legit.
bullshit. I'm so glad
Yeah,
that one person
but
doesn't think so.
you're
Thank you for that. Okay. So
yeah.
what were you hearing?
Man, I just started to realize like all like basically like a pattern thing, and like basically like damn, your parents treated you this way, and now you got this like core belief about yourself, and
Yep.
now you gotta shake that joint in
Yep.
order for you to like even for you to even see like a different pathway forward, And at the time, I was actually married, but I was actually just repeating the pattern, and I didn't really get it. Of course, that fell apart. But now I see things differently.
So were you actually able to see how you ingested your core belief from your family of origin and how you identified with the lie, which is what I call it? It's a lie. And then you identify with it and it ruins your life. Were you able to do that?
Yes, but what one thing I wasn't able to do is I still like women that's like my mom. I love that. I can't like I can't be like I can't. There's no way around it. I already tried. I'm secure in myself, but so I can handle what they're bringing, right? But at the same time, right, I can't just let it go.
Well, look, can I
Honestly,
ask you in
true.
general and, share what you're comfortable with and nobody's gonna know you from Adam because it's an anonymous call. But what did your mother injure you with that you can't shake?
Like I like it's both of my parents really, but they never had time for me. And so now I like girls that don't got time for me. You see what I'm saying?
Ah,
And so
you know what I call that one, right?
no, I don't.
Okay, I call that the what the Freud, the WTF repetitive principle. So you are repeating what your parents did as a way to control what they did and try to work it through. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay. So so look, it's really painful when your parents don't have time for you. That's a hard one to shake, isn't it? Because our parents are like our gods. They're our suppliers. They're our love supply, right? And if they don't bring it on, then ooh, we starve for it. We really starve for it. And then we get attracted to people who unfortunately do the same and deprive us from the very love that we've always been pining for. Okay, making
yeah,
sense to you, right?
yeah.
Right? And then you do it to other people, maybe. Do you?
No, I just from now on I just learned like look, I can't control nobody but myself, right? But at the same time, I like what I like. So maybe somebody would change.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so right now you're doing the what the Freud. You understand that your parents were rejectors. They didn't give you the emotional supply. So now you like women who also injure you by not making you important. Do I read that right?
100%.
Okay. All right. So that's your what the Freud. That's your repetition principle, your repetition cycle that you're trying to act out. So now what I would like you to try on for size is to regroup this, okay? So I want you to just pull back, like pull back and get out of their magnetic pull, basically. These women that you're trying to get attention from. Because what you're
Right.
really doing is you're trying to complete the injury that your parents inflicted on you through these women. You're kind of using them to complete an old injury, but you're selecting people who are never going to fix it because they're just as flawed as your parents. Get it?
Oof.
No. It's like it's like right. It's like going back to the mechanic that broke your car and they're going to break your car again because they're just not good at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so we've got a major step missing. I really hope I hear from you because I think this could be fixed, okay, by me or somebody on the team, hopefully me. Um, that we got to go back into really processing the anger and the resentment and the pain that this rejection caused in you by your parents and hold them emotionally responsible, therapeutically emotionally responsible. Because if they're dead, you can't hold them responsible. If they're too old to understand this, it's not like you're going to call your mom and dad and say, oh, I talked to Dr. Judy and she said to hold you responsible. I'm suing you for this. Uh, maybe you should, huh? It doesn't work that way. But somehow, whenever we hold it in us and we get to feel like we're at the effect of the injury of our parents, we try to fish ourselves out of the situation by bringing on the same energy, the same dynamics from somebody else, and then we let them break us over and over and over. And that's the what the Freud. Okay? Makes sense to you now?
Yeah.
So you're just caught in a net, is what's happening. You're caught in this net, and somebody's got to like untangle you from the mess. Maybe it'll be me. Okay? But I think that if we do a little work around this, then you're going to get unentangled from it, and you're no longer you're going to feel more whole and complete within yourself, and you're no longer going to be picking people who re-injure you the same way as your parents injured you. So now the prize is not going to be rejection and the desire to fix the rejection through a rejector. You get what I'm getting at? You're trying to
I
fix
do.
rejection through rejector. Never going to work. Never. Okay. So now we got to go back in there and make sure you don't reject yourself, because if you don't reject yourself, you're not going to put yourself in a shark tank where other people are rejecting you. You'll have no
Right.
desire to do that. You're just going to say, nah, no thanks. This isn't loving. Nah, this isn't fun.
Boy, I
I'd love
wish I could
to
do
get,
that.
I'd love to get you into that place, and I think I can. So, do reach out to me. We'll see what we could do about this, okay? And
All
yes, so
right.
now you learned what you learned from me, but now we got to go back to the hole in the soul and fix it so that you're not picking people to quote fix it for you when they're actually just re-injuring you the same way that your mother and father did. Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. But now I'm going to bring back my topic point, which is love versus in love. You fall in love with the people who inflict the injury, and hope and wish and pray that they can fix your injury by loving you back and completing the cycle of abandonment emotionally. You're praying for that, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're like the bad mechanic.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Just take it in, think about what I'm saying. You've obviously been listening to me for a long time, and you called in because you were hoping to get something more, some insight more than what you already got. So this is what I'm giving you, is that hole in the soul in you is repeating the cycle with the hopes that that person is going to fix the damage that your parents inflicted on you, but you pick people who are going to be equally damaging as your parents, and the job never gets done. So it's an inside job. Get it?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad to know that. Okay, so you're seeking that in love feeling, because the in love feeling is really a feeling of being deprived. Oh, I'm in love. And then the minute they wrap their arms around me and tell me how important and special and worthy I am, well, then I'll feel whole and complete. Wow, that's giving that person a lot of power, isn't it?
It sure is.
And what if they don't? Then you're screwed. Then
They
you're
never do.
right? Then you're re-injured just the way your mother and father did. And then you go to another rejecter and say, hello, rejecter, can you please accept me so I'll be cured?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how this in love stuff starts with that hole in the soul, and you want to mend the injury so that that in love spark that was missing from the original mother infant or father infant bond will finally calm down and make you whole. So
But
those are,
I'm never gonna be whole, right? Am I? Because
what's
I
that?
don't. I never felt like it.
You never what?
Never like felt whole because never nobody ever really was there like that. So
Right. So
how whole
now
could
through therapy, you have to recognize that in order for us to be whole, we've got to be mirrored and attuned to by our parents. But your parents missed the mark, they missed it. So now you're left with the whole, but you're filling it with the wrong people that, on top of the whole, are injuring you even more and making it worse. And that's the drug quality of the in love, is like you're looking for it, you're looking for it, you're looking for it. You know, now they injured me, they left me, they abandoned me. Oh no, now I'm worse off than, now I'm in drug withdrawal, love drug withdrawal. You ever hear of the term love addict, right? So then you go to the next person. The next person you go to is just equally as bad. They're rejectors too, because you think that once the rejecter accepts you, you will be whole and complete. And that's the why of why you do that. That's the what the Freud why. You want the injurer to fix you. So we just got to work through this thing.
yeah,
Okay. And then
yeah.
what you will notice is that you will stop the madness, and you will want to be with somebody that offers you love and mirroring and attunement and safety and stability, and somebody that you can build with. But right now, you're not going to be attracted to that person. You see? Somebody
Right.
comes around and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to offer you stability. I want to be with you. Don't worry about it. I'm not leaving you. We're good partners. We fit together. you'll say, well, where's the challenge? Just
Yeah.
kick me to the curb and now I'll fall in love with you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope I hear from you.
100%.
What's that?
I said 100%. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So I hope I hear from you. We'll work this through, and then your taste in women will change once you fix that inside hole of rejection from that your parents left you with, which is no fault of yours. Okay?
Okay.
And I have a show that you should listen to called The Herder Can't Be the Healer. Because what you're doing is you're going after the herder to heal that rejection part. And it's never going to work. You could try it 1,000 times and come back to me and say, you were right. It didn't work. Okay? I just want to prevent
Okay.
you from the thousand more times that you're going to do this.
Okay.
All right. All right. I really appreciate you
Okay.
calling in and your kind words. And yeah, I'm here for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. You take
See
care.
you.
Okay. Bye. So, everybody listening, do you hear that what the Freud thing that we pine for? Especially if we've been rejected in love, then we want to fall in love. We want to repair that hole in the soul injury of abandonment, which is one of the biggest injuries. It's just so painful when your own parents don't give you the mirroring and the attunement and the love and the attention. These are things that we ideally, not ideally, we need that for our mental health. And if we don't get that, then they're sort of like grooming us for picking rejectors. Okay, so thank you. This was a prime example of the calling for falling in love and falling in love for all the wrong reasons to repair something that was injured at the causal level and will never be repaired by another rejector, which the person will continue to do the what the Freud loop on. So, any other questions in the chat room? Any other comments?
Actually, the one just popped in. What if you are rejecting yourself? Many people do that.
Well, that in a way is something that we could really work with because if it's between you and you, then I want to know. I want to know your blueprint. I want to know those nasty core beliefs that you have. Maybe you're not even good enough for yourself. And we need to see that the trick is we've got to identify the lie in order to dismantle the lie. Okay, so if you bought into a lie that you're not lovable enough, not important enough, then we've got to go back in there and undo the lie because the good news is lies do not sustain, they're not sustainable. If I tell you a lie like, uh, let's see, if you throw a banana up in the air, then it's going to float up. Okay? Well, you know, it's not, right? So I could lie about it, but then you're going to test it and you're going to say, no, it's not. Okay, so we've got to bust the lies and we have to see what you bought into. So, one of the things I say in my book, and I really want everybody to at least have the PDF copy of it, and also the video, Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. You got to get that video. I put so much time and energy into busting the narcissistic system. So, call the clinic about it and we'll make sure that you have that. If you're not going to go through therapy, at least let me video you through healing from narcissistic abuse. So, what were we saying? What was the question? Oh, like if you're disconnected from yourself, even,
Yes.
we want to see what you bought into, kind of like better to reject myself than be rejected. So, yeah, maybe, but where's that getting you? Okay, so do you see this mind map system is a way to identify A system gone wrong. It's encode, decode, recode. What the Freud you encoded so that we could take the garbage out and decode it and then recode you into health. That's the point. Okay, any other quick questions? And then we'll end the show.
Let's see. Well, they said, God bless you. You saved my life 4 years ago.
That's so sweet. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate that.
So, since it sometimes I know as a podcast host, you don't realize the impact that you can make just through your voice. And Dr. Judy has always been here for many years doing this, and because she cares about her audience. So,
you know, I really, really do appreciate hearing that. And oh, yeah, you're right. Sometimes I forget, or I don't know. I don't know. I just sit here and talk. I like to talk. I like to I like to talk about the mind map and healing human disconnect, and I believe in this system that I created because I've seen it generate. So I just figure if I keep talking and sharing this with people, then some people will actually um, take it in and be affected by it in a good way. And now don't forget, I've got the book, I've got videos, I've got YouTube. So just keep learning, keep growing. And don't let anybody put you at the effect of another person because ultimately we have to be the cause of better outcomes for our lives because nobody's going to do it for us.
amen.
Okay, amen on that, and I will see you next time.